So this is Steve, and we're here with Jim Posey. Jim is a candidate for the judge for Allen Superior Court Civil Division. It's a nonpartisan race, and we wanted to sit down with Jim, kind of find out a little bit about his campaign, about him. And Jim, we appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and thanks for your time.
Sure. Why don't you, maybe for those of us who don't know you, give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself?
Sure. I was born in 1954, and the reason why I bring that up is my mother taught English at Milan High School. And that was the year of the Giant Killers, when Milan beat Muncie Central for the state basketball title. Milan was too small for a hospital. I believe I was born in a nearby town, Rising Sun or Moores Hill. But nonetheless, Milan was my hometown. My mother taught those boys English. So when they were down there on the court playing their way into Hoosier hysteria and history, they were speaking the King's English, thanks to my mother. Or at least so I claim. I came here to Fort Wayne when I was in 5th grade-ish. Have lived here ever since, except when I was in college. I graduated from Indiana University as an undergraduate with a BA in political science, and I graduated from the Maurer School of Law there in Bloomington. And after I graduated, I went into prosecuting there in Monroe County for a short period of time, and then came up here to Allen County, went to work for Steve Sims, former prosecutor and judge here in Allen County, and was his chief counsel, and tried a variety of cases, mostly homicides and rape, those type of cases, including death penalty cases. So I had a lot of trial experience there. Then I came over to my current firm, Beers, Mallers, Backs, and Salem, in 1986, and have been here since then. I am been a lawyer for over 32 years, been here for 27, practice in the area of labor and employment law, as well as general civil litigation, ranging from business disputes to estate matters to, again, labor and employment issues, accident cases. Pretty much the bulk of the type of cases that the Allen Superior Court Civil Division handles. So I'm here, I have a great group of partners, but I'm anxious to serve the community, and I want to go in to the judicial race because I want to serve people. It's time to give back to the community, and I look forward to doing that.
So you touched on it a little bit there about why you wanted to run, giving back. And are there other reasons why you wanted to run as well?
Well, yeah, I think there are probably at least 2 or 3 I can articulate relatively easily. One of the passions I have is to create what's called a business court. And without a long-winded explanation, that simply is a court that is set up to deal with intra-business disputes, business versus business. It can be a local court or it can be a regional court. But what it does is it has a judge assigned to that court who handles business matters only. Then the virtue of that is, as decisions come out on contract clauses that often create litigation issues, or how you're going to handle certain labor issues, or how you're going to view punitive damages, part of the business court is all that's recorded and it's put on the internet, so that business owners, as well as other lawyers who may have cases coming before you, can review that and see what your general philosophy is. And that's important because litigation is expensive to businesses. Really, the only people that make out are the lawyers. And so when you have business litigation, you have a situation where you have to stop what you do best, which is making widgets or whatever it is. You have to send your people to go meet with lawyers. They're in depositions, they're away from work for long periods of time, and you're down. And there's a disruption in your flow and your ability to produce the widgets that you want to produce and get out. More importantly, then when you go to trial, you have large numbers of people missing at the same time because they're in the lawyer's office or at the courthouse getting ready to testify. And that's a huge expense to corporations. And if corporations see a court, not where they're guaranteed what a decision is going to be, but at least where they can make an intelligent decision about, if we get into a dispute over this clause, this looks like it's going to turn out a certain way, then they can plan. They don't have to end up in a long-term fight in a courtroom for years and years getting there and then weeks and weeks trying it. That brings stability. Businesses, I believe, like stability. That lets them plan. And I submit that's not only good for local businesses, but it's a good lure for those businesses thinking of either expanding or coming into the region, because they can look at it and decide whether they can successfully do business here or not. So it's a novel concept. There are, I believe, 30 states have business courts. All states surrounding Indiana, except Kentucky, have business courts. And I think they work out very well. And it's a tool that, I can't promise you it's going to increase economic growth, but it lays a foundation upon which you can build to help increase economic growth.
Do you think at this point there's a need and a desire for that in Allen County?
I think there's a need for it, and I believe there's also a desire for it. I think any time you can bring more certainty to a circumstance that businesses find them in, they like that. They like to plan. If they're uncertain, it's hard to plan. So I think there's both a need and a desire.
Let's say November rolls around and you're successful and you become a civil judge in the civil division. What's the job going to be like? What's it going to entail for you?
Well, if I'm elected in November, I will be spending probably a significant amount of time for the remainder of November and December over there, making sure I understand what my docket is going to look like when I walk in January 1, because I want to hit the ground running and be able to conduct whatever matters need to be conducted. So I think what it's going to be is it's going to be familiarizing myself with what are the most pressing pending matters, determining whether or not there are open motions that haven't been ruled on that need to be ruled on, and getting acclimated, making sure that the staff's up to the way I want to conduct my court, and opening the door and saying, come, let us help you.
Okay. And you talked a little bit about this, but making that transition to a judge, is that going to be something that you think will be easy for you?
Well, my partners and I are very good friends, and I will miss my partners. I will miss the law firm and the collegiality we have, not only with the lawyers but with the staff. So it will be sort of a tug at the heart as you go through it. But as far as transitioning out, I don't think so, because we're staffed with wonderful lawyers here who are very talented. I think we'll be able to shift the work over to other lawyers to pick up where I am now and continue on. So I don't see that being a problem. And I know the other judges of the Allen Superior Court Civil Division, no matter who wins, will be willing to work with that person to help make the transition smooth and to keep the court running effective and efficient. So, there'll be some emotions, there'll be some hard work, there'll be uncertainties, but on a whole, I think it'll be a good, smooth transition.
You talked a little bit about the business court. Are there other improvements or things that you would like to do or changes that you would like to make in that division?
Well, another thing that motivates me is, I think you've seen this year there have been a number of decisions that have been rendered by courts that have that some people might say amount to judges making up the law as they go along. One of my guiding principles is I believe for democracy to work properly, a judge is supposed to take the law as it's written, if it is brought to his attention, in essence, if the issue is raised, he or she must determine that it is constitutional, that it is fair to all parties involved. But once that decision is made, you then need to apply the facts to the law, no matter how you feel about it personally, and make decisions. Judges don't get to make the law. If you want to make the law, go run for what Casey Cox is, a state representative or a state senator, or for Congress. So I'm motivated to try and keep judges doing what I believe they should be doing, which is applying the law as it exists. Whether I like it or not, there are some laws I don't like, quite frankly. But I've had to have that discussion with myself and my friends or wife and come to a commitment that regardless of whether I like them or not, as long as they are the law, I will enforce them, whether I like them or not. And so I think it's just one way for one person to say, hey, I'm committed to making sure that democracy works the way I believe the framers wanted it to work. So that's a motivation for it. Another fact that I see as a litigator, I think the young lawyers coming out of law school and young lawyers in practice are very well educated. They are very bright people and they're very hard workers. With the onset of mediation, though, lawyers, particularly the younger ones, aren't getting into the courtroom and aren't really trying a lot of cases. I think most people would tell you in the area of civil court, the cases that get tried the most are medical malpractice cases, and that's because they usually have a provision in the insurance coverage where the doctor can say, no, I don't want to settle, I want to go to trial, and many doctors want to go to trial to make sure their reputation is protected. Accident cases, personal injury cases do get tried somewhat, but as a general rule, mediation has resulted in most cases being settled. For example, now in Superior Court, you can't get a trial date without going through mediation. You go through mediation, and a case settles, and there's no trial date, and there's no trial. So to address a situation, because there are going to be cases that need to be tried, and younger generations of lawyers are going to have to know how to try cases when those particular cases come up. So what I'd like to do, with the help of some of the larger law firms here in town, is to set up on a quarterly or semi-annual, whatever works best with the parties that want to get involved, trials where on the weekends, so you're not using court time that could be used to serve the citizens when the courts are supposed to be open, but come in on the weekends and let these young lawyers try cases, get high school civic class and have them send some kids down to be jurors and have some witnesses prepared to, maybe some actors could come in and be witnesses, and let these young folks, actually try some cases so that they have a level of confidence in their skills when they actually have to try them for real.
Let's switch gears a little bit.
Sure.
And a technical question for you. What's the difference between a magistrate and a judge?
A judge, in addition to being an elected official, has the final say. Magistrates can have a number of things delegated for them to do on behalf of the judge, and we are blessed with very good magistrates here in Allen County. We have superb magistrates. But certain decisions by magistrates have to be signed off on by the judge. And so the judge has the final pen. He or she has the big pen, and he or she can sign the order. That's final. Magistrates really are subject to approval of what they do by the judge they are working for. And again, all of them that I know of are great, and the judges trust them greatly. But it's just they don't have that final authority, and they're not elected.
So we were talking a little bit, the $10,000 limit we both feel is a little low for campaigns of this nature. What are some other ways that you can get your message out there without maybe having to spend a lot of money?
I think the way we've done it, and I'll tell you I've enjoyed doing it, is we've just gone grassroots. We've gone door to door. We've obtained lists of registered voters who are likely to vote. And I've gone out and I've been helped by my wife and I've been helped by other volunteers, and we've simply gone out and gone door to door and talked to people. As we sit here today, we're at about 2,920 doors. Hopefully we'll get 3,500, maybe more by Election Day. But we're talking with people and we're just coming by. And you know what's refreshing is that people are receptive. They may come to the door with that look like, what are you trying to sell me? But the minute you say, hi, I'm Jim Posey, I'm running for judge of the Allen Superior Court. I just wanted to stop by and give you something with my name on it. Turn it over on the back, it tells you a little bit about me. Want you to see my face, and I'd appreciate your support on November 4th. When I get about a third of the way into that, the jaw relaxes, a smile comes on their face, and they simply say, wow, well, they thank me for coming by. Many, many people thank me for coming by. They say, we've never had a candidate come by, we've never had a judicial candidate come by, and so we talk. And they get to meet me and I get to meet them. And after all, I am accountable to them. I'm elected by them if I win, and I'm accountable to them. So I want them to know who they're voting for. It helps me know who I'm working for if I get elected. And I've really had some great conversations. Out of all the doors we've been to, I bet there have been 7 instances that I thought people were rude or acted inappropriately. That's not very bad. That's a pretty good average. You include everybody in my campaign, it may be 15. Out of 2,920, that says a lot. So people are nice. They'll talk to you. I think they want to be informed. And that's how we've done it. We've just hit the pavement. And there you have it. We'll see how well it does for us, but I've enjoyed it.
One of the questions I like to ask of lawyers, you've been practicing for quite a few years. What keeps it fresh? What's the attraction? Why do you want to keep practicing?
I think the reason why you practice law, some people have treated it like it's a business. And to a certain extent, it has become a business over a profession. What keeps it fresh for me is a profession, viewing it as a profession, helping people, seeing that, what you can do to make sure that a case is rightly resolved, or at least as rightly resolved as it can be in your mind. That keeps it fresh, realizing you're helping people and not just trying to make a buck. And I think that's what entices me a lot to go to the judiciary, is because there you really are making impact, because you're making oftentimes the final decision in a case that will impact 2 parties at a minimum or more. And so I think you have to go in there trying to help and trying to realize that, this is a very heavy responsibility. And you just can't goof off. And if you don't have it, if you don't want to do it, or if you don't have the passion to do it, don't do it, because people are looking to you for justice. And you got to want to do it right, I believe.
Evening court, is that an idea that you think needs to be looked at?
I will tell you this. I do not think evening court is appropriate. And I would not be for it if I were a judge, and here's the reason why. It has been advocated that it can be done without increasing taxpayers' burdens. I respectfully disagree with that. You have to have security in the courthouse. You have to have people that stay overtime. You have to turn the lights on. You've got court reporters and other people there. I don't think it's a cost-efficient way to handle it, and it's certainly not a tax-neutral way to handle it. I think that one of the issues you can look at is a lot of times cases will get settled and gaps will open up during the calendar. There may be ways to more efficiently and effectively fill those in so people get to court sooner than they have before. But as a general rule, I am not an advocate of night court.
Okay. And is it because of the fact that it probably wouldn't be expense revenue, expense neutral? It would probably raise. Is that the main reason, or?
Well, I think the fact that it would cost more would be an important factor to me. In addition to that, I'm not sure, quite frankly, with people that have obligations after school with their children, familial responsibilities, I'm not really convinced that there would be that large of group of people that would need it, because I can tell you in my going door to door, in the summer it was great because you could stay out till 9:30 at night, and people start really rolling home around 7:30 if they've got kids, because they're obligated. They've got to leave, they've got to grab something to eat quickly and go to a basketball game or a game. And so I'm not quite sure that the demand is there that others perceive.
Anything else that we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about?
I think one of the things that you have to look at when you decide who you're going to vote for judge is their reputation in the community, their character, how they conduct themselves both in public and private. And I think that you need to go out and investigate. It shouldn't be a race where it comes down to, hey, I like that name best, or hey, that guy came to my house. I really don't know anything about him, but he came to my house, or I saw that guy's billboard. I would encourage people to check us out. Check me out. Check me out on my law firm page. Check me out on my Facebook page, Jim Posey for Judge. Check me out, investigate me, see what you think about me. Do the same for my opponents and make an informed decision. As a candidate who has worked very hard, I would like to be judged on my merits. And I hope when you vote, you will be voting on the merits of someone, and quite frankly, not the name you happen to remember at the last minute. That's what I would like to say. And I think that should apply across the board for everyone that voters consider voting for. Do your homework. It only happens, once every 2 years. Well, city elections next year, but it's at least only once a year, and it's part of democracy. And if you do that, we will have better government.
Well, Jim, we appreciate your time today, and we wish you well in November.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to share time with you and to talk to the folks out there.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks.